Oh, and I was going to tell you, are you going to get
Oh,
rid
yeah.
of that?
No.
The
Well,
light? Because
you can't
I figured you might,
Yeah.
here you go.
That's
Because I
better.
figured you might get rid of it when you frame it and mess with the
Yeah.
video. Or that could show that we're rookies. Not rookies, but still evolving.
Hey, Brian here from Creative Small Business Marketing. Today we're going to talk about some very interesting sales strategies for your local brick and mortar small business. In fact, the name of the topic for our live today is crafting your unique value proposition. And so I got Bob Young here. My dad, also a seasoned sales guy and marketing guy. So I brought him along on this live to kind of help us kind of work through some strategies that could potentially help your small business in big ways.
So the challenge is, why are you different? What's different about you versus the guy down the street that's also selling something similar? And so the idea is you should be able to convey an idea of why your operation is worth at least a trip to come in and look around.
So what differentiates you from the competition? So I feel like, again, I always use a coffee shop as an analogy, but there's no point trying to beat Starbucks at its own game. Meaning, I think we need to change the rules to be successful as like a local brick and mortar mom and pop coffee shop. And so one way to do that is to differentiate yourself, not trying to copy their menu and do everything they do. They have a marketing budget that would eclipse,
a lot.
Yeah, millions of dollars a year. You can't afford it. So what differentiates you from Starbucks? What makes you and your company special and unique? And there's a strategy out there right now. It's called blue ocean marketing. And they talk about how you should be so different and differentiated from your competition that you really kind of create your own category for yourself. So when potential customers think about your business, they're not lumping you in with the other half a dozen businesses that are similar to yours in your area. They're thinking about you kind of off on your own. And I think that's a really important strategy to consider.
But also remember, in the coffee industry, there's a lot of businesses, but you may be the only construction company that has auto parts, or you may be the only outdoor place, or so. I mean, it could be there's only just a couple of businesses and you have one competitor rather than many competitors like coffee shops and different philosophies. And so it's an interesting question is why would they come and check me out?
Yeah. So you really ask the question, why would they choose to buy from me as opposed to some of the alternatives? And you really need to understand your customer to figure out what they want, but you really need to be able to answer that question before you can differentiate yourself from competition.
But it's also, why is it worth a trip to your store? Because once they get in your store, they go, oh yeah, I hadn't thought about it. There could be many things that would make them happy they did that. But if they're not going to come by because they think you're just, all the old stuff, all the junk or something.
So what are some just practical things that you could create for the business owners to create for their businesses that would get, what are some examples of things that you could do as a small business owner that get people to want to come and shop at your store versus a competitor store?
And I mean, you can ask yourself that question. You can say, okay, here's a store that sells clothing. Why would I check them out? And part of it's going to be, because they're in my town and I want to support my local businesses. Okay, that's a good thing. But what other reasons might encourage you just to go and check it out, and see if it's a gift shop or if it's a art shop, different kinds of cross stitch and stuff. If you love that stuff, oh yeah, no problem. But that's kind of the challenge, is to get them. And you can always have some promotional thing. If this is if you come in on this day, you get a 15% discount on everything in this, something like that, everything in the store. But I think that's a great question. And maybe what you can do is think about it as if you weren't the owner and walk down the street and see the shop, or what would cause you even to consider coming by?
Yeah. And I think, yeah, you need to be creative, but I feel like, like for instance, when we ran a store called Bolified, it was be on the lookout for incredible deals every day. As a boutique size retail liquidation store, we customers, when they made a purchase, they could spin a prize wheel at the end. And if they and people love playing games, they love spinning wheels. And if they landed on a jackpot, and then we'd give them a full refund via gift card or gift certificate for their entire order.
Whatever they had, no matter what the value was.
Yeah. So if they spent $80 and they spun the jackpot, which on the thing, there's one of 19 possibilities, they'd get a full refund. And people loved it. People would drive from 100 miles plus away because they told me they just wanted to spin the wheel. And we had customers come through that spent $100, $150 that would get that jackpot. And yeah, that was a little bit of a hit to the bottom line, but I think it definitely paid for itself and all the other traffic that we got to come in. So that was one thing that made us different. There's no other store in our town that had a prize wheel that would give you, a full refund. And then on top of that, a lot of the deals and things that we offered, 50% plus off retail on things, that was another incentive. And then we were continuing to stack ways that we differentiated. We were only open a couple days a week for a while there. So people would line up out the door on a Friday night, before we open our doors at 5, we'd have 50 to 100 people lined up. It just was an exciting thing. There was really no other comparison. There was nothing in town that was anything like what we were doing. And so depending on what your business is, you might not be able to replicate that, but just kind of thinking outside the box, becoming different, differentiating yourself will help you.
So it was like a destination almost, and it was fun. And in fact, sometimes Brian even had a food truck out front, and that was another kind of silly, fun thing that people would come for. And it was kind of like, wow, I wonder what kind of interesting things he has this week.
Is an event. Yeah. And we live in a smaller town south of the Twin Cities, and people just didn't have anything to do. So they'd usually come in pairs or 3s or 4s. They'd come and bring their friends. It's just kind of an event. It's kind of something fun to do.
It was created this environment, this mindset that was different from all the other stores. Mm-hmm. And that was worthy of at least a visit. And then they found things. And so we would get them more often. And
it reminds me of Seth Godin wrote a book called The Purple Cow. So Seth Godin's a marketing expert, author, but he said, the story he gave was him and his family are driving through the countryside on a trip to somewhere cross country, lots of farmland, lots of pastures, pretty boring. And he said if we drove by a field and there's some cows standing out in the field, they wouldn't even really have noticed. They've been driving for hours. It's kind of monotonous. But he said, what if there was a purple cow out in the field, standing out there, obviously contrasted on its background? They would probably pull over, get out of the car, take pictures and selfies, share with friends and family, talk about it. And that's how we need to treat our businesses and organizations. We want to be that purple cow that stands out, that gets the attention, that gets people talking about us. And so that you just got to figure out some creative ways you can do that for your business.
And get them in the store. Once they're in the store, they can see what you're offering. They can get excited about the price or the discounts or the variability or whatever it is. Mm-hmm. So it's that is a kind of a first thing. The other thing Brian used to do, we'd have the kids stand out front with signs saying, special sale, come on by.
And we're llama. Our llama, a pirate llama was our logo. And so they had llama hats on and, dressed up in costumes. And again, just trying to think of ways to stand out and be different, differentiate ourselves from other people, other businesses that are similar to ours. One way to differentiate yourself is via storytelling. So I think my message to them always was, one of our slogans was Bolified, get fancy. It was like a cheap way for people to buy name brand, good quality products at a discount. And so the story that we were telling them is that you can shop here, you can have the things maybe you've always wanted but couldn't have afforded, and have a little fun in your experience shopping with us. And in addition to me trying to help potential customers see themselves in a successful story that we can help facilitate, also sharing our story. They got to know. Obviously, my mom and dad helped out quite a bit.
They gave us nicknames, so we had nicknames.
So Bolo Bob, be on the lookout, Bob. We had Llama Louise, that's my mom. My sister would come down and help. The kids were heavily involved. In fact, I still watch the videos of me and holding Kalila, and she was just born, and now she's 4 years old. So, but they understood I remember right after we opened up after COVID, I shared kind of a heartfelt story of gratitude for all the customers that lined up outside the door. And I just think that that resonated with people. Again, becoming human is a great way for you to have an edge and be different over your competition, especially of the national variety. Like you can't, the Starbucks operator or manager is not going to get on and be personal and be real and have some reality, because there's restrictions for that, but you can for your store.
I mean, you can think in terms of Italian restaurants. There's tons of Italian restaurants. And so why would you pick this one over that one? One of the things that really helps is when they get to know you and you get to know them. And so you then feel a connection. And so you go, what dish you like. They will ask questions like, are you having the normal thing tonight? And so you feel a connection there. And that's very important.
Yeah, then they kind of become part of your story, because you're going there with your family. You feel like you're part of the community there. They're rolling out some amazing service. It makes you feel connected in a way that differentiates you from the competition
and helps you choose that restaurant again.
So another way you can be unique is in pricing. And so I think immediately, I think there's a couple different ways you can go with this, but the way that you price your products, it can have a powerful effect on people coming and shopping and becoming customers. With Bolafide, it was always 50% off retail or more. So people knew, wow, like whatever I'm going to buy there is going to be about half of what I'd pay for it at a chain store.
So it's worth the journey.
Yeah.
It's worth coming, making time, going and walking around and checking it out. Because even if you only buy one thing, it's good.
It's a good deal. And a lot of the stuff we had was stuff that people would want to buy. They were going to buy anyways. They might as well come support a local business, get 50% off retail, spin the wheel,
have a little silliness and fun.
See Bob and the crew. And I try my best to remember people's names and stuff too, because I want them to feel like they're family, part of the family. So obviously our target demographic, our customer avatar, was somebody who was price sensitive. That was somebody who's trying to find the lowest price possible.
That's right.
They're discount shoppers, they're price shoppers, they call them. But that might not be your clientele, and maybe that's not the best. I mean, for some businesses, you might not want to be targeting those people exclusively, because maybe the value and the unique things that you offer in addition to the products and services you sell might have a premium value to it. So I think there's philosophies on pricing above like the average market value and below.
And so maybe what you offer is a section where the prices are low, but maybe you also offer a section where there's a large variety of more, I'll make something up, like different kinds of socks. And so it has a huge sock collection that the other places wouldn't normally have. And so you have kind of like either they'll come in for the socks or they'll come in for the lower prices, and you can maybe get both sets of people. But I mean, the point Brian's trying to make is there's a philosophy here that you can set what kind of message, what kind of thing you're offering the public.
Right. And maybe your customer's looking for the variety or for some good prices, but maybe not. I mean, there's people out there that purchase certain things because they want to be the envy of others.
Right.
Or they want to buy something because of how it elevates their status. And they're not necessarily concerned so much about how much it costs. They just want to know that they're going to be in that exclusive club of owners. And I think of Harley Davidson, or I think of Louis Vuitton. I mean, these luxury brands that command a high dollar point for their products that never go on sale, because that's not kind of the MO of the potential customer. I think to keep that in consideration too, because maybe what you offer the customer, maybe like there's a local boutique store in town that sells very high end clothing, and they're very expensive, but there's the guy there that's going to help you try the suits on. He's also a tailor, so he can make that suit custom to fit your needs, and they take care of it. I mean, you're there, they'll give you a cup of coffee. I mean, really, they treat you like royalty. They roll out the red carpet. You get really personalized service, and so for a lot of people, they prefer to pay a little more for that experience and the service that they get than maybe going to one of the discount suit places and getting one for 25.
So that's kind of the third strategy. You have low cost, you have a wide variety of products that's unique and exciting and different, or you have the feeling of a customer relationship that is like no other. You feel like this place knows you, can help you give exactly or more like what you want. So that's good too.
Yeah. Yeah. So I think it really just depends on, again, you really need to know your customer, and then you really need to know your business, and you need to kind of determine a strategy of how you're going to differentiate yourself from your competition. So you got to know who your competition is.
So the things that I said are kind of the standard
Mhm.
marketing strategy things. Brian was talking additionally, just the fun things and ideas that you can get to get people to come in.
Yeah. Just stand out, in a
To
very
stand out.
crowded. And that's why I think that at the heartbeat of marketing is attention. It's getting people's attention. And I think that's why these big companies spend so much money on advertising, because they always want to be front of mind. Like whether it's a beer company or uh, you know whatever, Starbucks or whatever the national chain is, they want you to always be thinking about Walmart or always be thinking about Target. And the way they do that is always getting in front of you. And so good marketing will get people's attention and then get them to come to your business. And then if you have good sales process in place, you'll get the conversion and get the sale.
Right. And they'll come back.
Yeah. So that's good. So becoming unique, creating the type of business that stands out, the purple cow in your town or your industry, I think is essential. It's so much easier to sell if you're the only business in your category than competing with the half a dozen other companies that do a similar thing than you do. The next part we can talk about is kind of mastering the sales conversion. So, and I'm curious, Bob, what you think, like how do we structure we hear about a sales funnel and the process of making a sales funnel. How do we create a journey, a customer value journey that has the customer, becoming aware of us to eventually, making that sale?
Are you saying once inside the store or before you even come in?
It could be before. But that's more marketing than sales. But how does that process look?
Well,
yeah, so maybe they come in. Okay, so let's say the marketing has been effective.
Okay.
We've gotten their attention. They're intrigued. They come into the store. Like, what are some simple things, like steps that we can consider as local small business owners to get them to go from coming in the store to purchasing one of our products?
Well, the best thing would be if you can figure out what they want, what they're looking for, why they came in the store. And so if you can ask them a couple of quick questions that will get them to say, we'll get them to say, well, the reason I came here is my aunt is having a birthday and she loves birds. I want to see if there's something like that. Okay. So then I, as the employee, can say, well, here we have this kind of clothing. We have this kind of wall designs and hangings. Which ones of those kind of things would be interested? And then immediately the person can respond and maybe do both, but you have a way for them to get engaged and go look over, and you can come back and check on them. Mm-hmm. So the perfect world is that. So it's if you can come up with some general questions that give you a sense of why they're there, what they're looking for. I saw your ad and it said 10% off on something, and I want to check those out and see if that's something. Okay, good. Over here in this part of the store is where we're putting that stuff. Let me show you. And then that way they'll be more efficient, but they'll also get to what they want. And you can say, when you're looking at that, maybe consider this other stuff over here because it's kind of related. It's not really birds, but it's, other wildlife or anything.
Yeah, it's interesting because I think most stores, especially the big chain stores, when I walk in, they say, is there anything I can help you with? And it's a yes or no question. And usually, no, I'm okay, I'm just looking. And then sales guy goes away.
Right.
But what you're saying is you need to be more of an active listener. You really need to ask questions that are open-ended.
Right.
So you can understand what the customer is looking for, maybe what their objections are.
Right.
So those can be addressed as well. And that's a little, so instead of asking, is there anything I can help you find? Maybe there's some different questions that they can ask.
And what you can do is you can even kind of offer something, if this week it's 25% off on little kid clothes, you can say, well, listen, if you have any questions about the store, please come and ask me. Just so you know, the 25% on the kids' floor is over there in the corner, and that's been getting a lot of attention. Are there some things specifically you're looking for? And that way I've kind of made a little bit of a connection, but also asked them. So, if they say, I just want to tell you that I bought a pair of pants here last time and they sucked. They were awful. They went, okay, let's take care of that first. Let me get you to the manager. And so that way you can get them out of the angry mode into something more neutral and go from there.
Yeah, that's good.
But,
I mean, maybe even like you build out the reason why. I mean, that could be a reason in and of itself. But if they make if you're trying to be unique and kind of position your company or your business as being special, this would be your opportunity to kind of elaborate on why that's true. And so they might say, yeah, $150 for a pair of jeans seems kind of expensive. And you can say, yeah, but look at what you get. You get these are 100% some denim and
gold twines
and double, triple stitched or whatever. I mean, there's a store. I was watching a video on one. They sell jeans for like $150, $200, but they're like they'll last for 20 years. Like they're really well made jeans. And so what you're paying for is the durability, and that's why they cost a little extra. And so this could give you an opportunity. Engaging with your customers, asking them probing questions can really give you the opportunity as a business to explain why you're unique and why customers should feel good shopping with you as opposed to the competition.
And the thing is, if you ask it enough times, you'll start learning what's the most common answer. What are most people coming into your place for? And it's like, I work with students on learning things to get their GED, their high school diploma. And I'm finding that it's like 90% of the time, the issue is the same. And I thought, wow, I would have never thought that because I have kids from all over, adults from all over that are working. But it turns out that some things people generally know and other things people generally don't know, but it is set as one of the objectives for the high school diploma. So we got to talk about it. But my point is, if you keep asking the question, sometimes you'll end up with a trend or a most common answer. And then you can just focus on that and help them out really quick.
And that could become part of your marketing. So if you know that this is what customers are looking for, or these are common objections that customer have, then you can work that into your messaging so that those questions are being answered. Those objections are being addressed before the customer even has to step foot in the store, which is good. That'll kind of pave the way for a sale.
And also it'll help to feel like you're not just going to be wandering around a huge store or even a small store and wasting a lot of time. You can go look at the thing that you need to look at, and on the way you can check out other stuff too to see if there's anything really cool.
And a lot of times I think when you're trying to convert, again, it depends on what kind of business. I know we talk retail, we talk coffee shop, but it could be service oriented. It could be carpet company. It could be.
Well, let's talk about a real estate company. What would you recommend there? Because that's kind of an abstract thing.
Well, so like the next topic is, how do you overcome objections? So I think that's there's always hesitation. And if you're selling real estate, understanding what those objections are, addressing them. What are some strategies? Do you know any strategies? Are there some kind of patented strategies to transform no's into yeses? Would you say? What's the process to get somebody who has some hesitations about maybe purchasing a property, or you can go to a different niche if you want to go from being hesitant and no to
I
yes.
think the theme is the same. Please tell me exactly what you're looking for and give me some details and tell me what you want and what you don't want. And so if I have that information, then I can ask better questions and make sure I understand everything. But also then I could say, well, I'll tell you, we got some things right here that just might help you out. And so that would be good. But
Sure.
I think it's developing the skill of asking questions to get them to be honest and tell you what they want and what they don't want. And then you can say, sometimes you might say, well, I don't think we have anything like that at the time. I can check with our other store or my colleagues and maybe get back to you. But I'm afraid that, we just can't meet that and they'll appreciate that. That's not like a bad thing.
Right.
It's like saving it's an efficient thing, which can be really helpful. Or they may say, well, I'll tell you what, item 4, let's pretend like I didn't say that. Oh, okay. Let's go from there.
Well, even do you think focusing on the desired outcome of the customer could be an effective way to get them to say, go from no to yes?
Yeah,
Like
I do.
hesitations. Yeah.
And what can happen, then you can say, well, yeah, we can do that, but here's the downside. And then they can say, not important. Okay, good. But you're right. That would be another way rather than the challenge there, though, is you don't want to lead them down a path that isn't really what they're thinking.
Right.
But on the other hand, if they just have this overall view,
Mhm.
I just want a new pair of pants. Well, there's a billion directions you can go into. So maybe that would be a good way to help them.
Yeah. Well, and
Take some
I mean, and
alternatives.
there's some general psychological principles that can help motivate somebody to buy something. Scarcity. If you tell them, we only have 2 of these left. I know you're on the fence, but if you want it, I mean, now's probably the time to buy it because it's probably not going to be here next week. Or that the fear of missing out.
Or
is
we
a big
can
one.
figure out a 24-hour trial period,
Yeah.
or if you don't
right.
actually wear them, but you take them home and think about them and
Satisfaction
change your
guaranteed.
mind.
Yeah, bring them back, return them.
That's right.
Help them to understand kind of what your product or service is going to do for their life in the end, so they can kind of envision themselves becoming a better person or having a better life as a direct result of purchasing your product or service.
And if you ask questions like that, they can start really getting down to the question of what's important to you, what's important now. And if they have that, then they can start aligning that or not aligning it with what it is you have to offer. Again, it's a win-win.
Right. So yeah, active listening, some good ways to overcome objections.
I mean, some objectives you won't be able to overcome.
Right.
Okay, I'll acknowledge that and just be honest and say, you want striped underwear. I'm sorry, we just haven't been carrying any striped underwear.
And I think that's good. I think working with the customer, being empathetic, addressing their concerns, kind of just your desire is to serve them. It isn't necessarily to make a profit off every person that comes in, because you only want to sell your products and services to the customers that is actually going to benefit.
They want it.
Yeah,
Yes,
so
exactly.
Need it, want it, and need it. But I think, what are some other strategies? So those all go into it. Can you think of other strategies that'll help grow your business organically? So one of it is having a reputation of taking care of customers' needs.
Positive sales process and outcomes. Like you said, when you say it's guaranteed, we'll give you your money back if this doesn't meet what we're saying it's going to do.
Yeah, and referrals, obviously, like if you can get customers to say, hey, you need to go check out
or
this
bring in
Italian
somebody else,
or feedback, referrals. And I think social media is kind of it's referrals on steroids. I mean, if you can get people talking positively about your business on social media, you're gonna have more of a reach than maybe if they're just interacting with their social circle. Both are good, but I think a lot of businesses build their business on the back of referrals, and so I just think it's a good opportunity for all of us to get involved doing social media.
And of course, the other thing is a reason to come back. Like for every $1 you spend, you get 3 points, and 3 points can go towards something.
Yeah,
and so you have a reason that if I keep coming back, there's a benefit here.
Right. Smart. Yeah. Because even Quick Trip, local gas station in the Midwest here, they have you put your phone number and there's a loyalty program. I don't even really know what you get. I think you can turn your points in every once in a while. It takes a long time to get something, but every time you visit, you get like a point. And then those points can be leveraged for things down the road. Well, there is something in me that says I don't really know what I'm getting, but if I have to choose between a Quick Trip and then a Holiday gas station across the street,
right, exactly,
I might as well just go to Quick Trip. So it is even just sometimes it doesn't have to be a major incentive. It could just be something really small that tips the scales in your favor when customers are trying to decide where to go.
And like the favorite restaurant that we go back to, you get $1 credit for everything you spend. Fine, that's good. When you're using it, though, there's a couple of qualifications. It has to be on an entree, and it has to be when you buy a regular entree at full price. So it still can be a significant savings, but it's not just going to be a trivial thing, because you still have to buy another entree.
They get you to come back.
That's right, exactly.
Kohl's Cash does that.
Kohl's Cash is a great example.
They're getting you to come back, and they're getting you to come back within a certain window of time. So obviously that's very strategic.
That's right, exactly.
And the way they structure their pricing of their products, it's obviously still in their favor. They're still profitable at the discounted rate. So it's all lining up to get you to come back. So that's good. So loyalty, Also, so another thing when it comes to relationships, building relationships and mastering the sales conversion is handling feedback. Um, uh, there's companies out there that'll help you with um, like your brand reputation. I think it's called reputation management. And so you can pay companies to come in and they'll just monitor your reputation across Google and all the other places where people can leave feedback, and they'll help you make sure you have a positive persona that you're putting forth to the world, or at least your community. But it can be difficult because you get negative feedback for something that may not even have been your fault. How's the best way to handle that?
Well, the guideline we had back when I was in the marketing department is for every feedback you get, there's 9 feedbacks that aren't recorded. So when you say, oh, we only got 1 negative feedback, you shouldn't really look at it that way. You should look at it as representing many feedbacks where the other people just didn't want to bother to record it. Mm-hmm. And so that makes you put a lot more emphasis on any feedback you get, and you should, is the take-home message there.
So even though it's not a holistic perspective on your business, because you might know that you serve and love your customers, in an intimate way
more than anybody else,
but
other companies.
It's that one bad apple, or maybe that one bad experience where the customer kind of had, it's a reality. And so I think, but I think your pizza example, you called and talked about how you ordered pizza, they didn't put mushrooms on it. You called and let the manager know. He was very quick to try to do whatever he could to go above and beyond to make you
right.
feel
He was
satisfied.
willing to drive me out a new pizza. And so how cool is that? And I says, no, it's okay. It was still good. But the idea was very, made me think, okay, this guy's very concerned about the product quality, and I'll keep going back to that place.
Yeah. And even I think, so when it comes to like public feedback, like on a Google, if somebody were to leave like a 1-star for your business, I think that's a great opportunity for you to show the world that you care, that you have good customer service. And even if this person's a troll and what they're saying isn't true, and you may feel like there's nefarious motivations behind what they're saying, or maybe it doesn't even reflect your business at all, it's still a good. I think people realize that there are people out there that are like that. And I think what people are most interested in is seeing how you respond. So I think whenever I look at reviews, there's a heavy dose of skepticism that I give to some of the negative reviews. I'm like, we don't know the whole situation.
Right.
But I'm always curious how is a business, are they going to respond kind of snarky and negative and demeaning, or are they going to roll out the carpet? Hey, call me. We'd love to resolve this. And are they doing what they should, taking steps that they need to take to? And
the last one I think is most important. So if they indicate, we went back, we looked at our process and we found a problem. Wow, that's great. That means that people in the future shouldn't have the same problem this guy had. And so you can acknowledge that, maybe do something to compensate. But the point is, you've corrected a problem in the business, which could, aggravate, cause problems in the future. This is really good.
So looking to improve too.
Yeah.
Okay. So then after kind of wrapping up, so you've made the sale. When it comes to selling, so let's say you sold carpet or you sold a vehicle or whatever, what does a good sales rep do to follow up, or what should a business do to follow up with somebody after they've made a purchase?
The challenge is it's happening all the time. You send them a survey saying, how was it? And, we were talking about this earlier, is that everybody gets so many surveys. It's really kind of tough to respond to each of them. And back when I was a younger kid, I'd respond to everyone because I was in marketing. I thought, this is the way I can pay people back for the people that have been responding to me. But, I think that the challenge is to find a way to get some feedback. And I don't know, you could give them an incentive to come back and feedback. I don't know, but you're right. Big challenge.
Yeah. Being creative too. Cause I think, again, if you want to be a purple cow, if you want to stand out in this world, maybe the way that you follow up is different than the status quo.
Right.
Whether you say, hey, thanks for your purchase. If you could fill out this form, give us feedback. I mean, I still think people do fill those forms out.
That's right.
It could be a great place for you to collect the data that you need to really make the company be successful in the future. But at the same time, maybe there's something else that you can do to just make sure the customer is satisfied. It's something free or something.
Brian and I are open to ideas. And so if you guys have some ideas on something that's worked or kind of worked, well, put it on the database for us here,
Yeah.
so that we can take a look at it and comment and tell other
Yeah.
people too. So
The question could be, how do you ensure that your customers know that you're thankful for their business after you've made a sale or after they purchase something? How do you say thank you? And it could be, part of it could be asking them questions and getting survey and stuff. But if you have a creative way that you do that, we'd love to hear it.
yeah, that'd be fun.
Well, good. Well, thanks for joining us today. Again, we're broaching. We're going to continue this series talking about sales and marketing for the local small business. So there's more videos to come. But if you have any questions or comments, we'd love to engage with you in the comments section. Leave those below. If you want to subscribe to Creative Small Business Marketing, do that here on YouTube. Otherwise, you can go over to creativesmallbusinessmarketing.com. You can sign up with your email. Then I'll just send you a weekly email that kind of gives you the dates and the links and times that we're going to have live webinars, and you can make sure you're here with us, because we'd love to engage with you. We'd love to have people on here live asking questions and us kind of bouncing some ideas off each other.
So this is the beginning of an exciting journey. We're in episode 3, right?
Right. Yep.
And so you see at the at the grassroots,
yeah.
but the point is, it should be really fun, and we want to engage you.
Yeah. So thanks again for watching. We appreciate it, and we'll see you in the next video.